Welcome everyone to my Catacomb Meta Simplified guide, and I am going to keep it short because the meta isn't as large. It's just a few key groups and a few key matchups, and rest of it are basically the same. So I have divided the meta in 5 categories. The first are Umbreon and Zweilous. They are not the dark categories, they are only Umbreon and Zweilous. And secondly, it's Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo has a role, it's a category itself, and it is looking like one of the strongest mons in Catacomb Cup. And to counter that, I have the grass line, which is Venusaur, Jumpluff, and Gloom. All movesets of the all recommended movesets will be in the pinned comment below. And I also have, from the bug types, I have Vespiquen and Pinsir, and from the ices I have Lapras, Frostlass, and Castform. They perform almost similarly, but have a few key differences. I am going to talk about it. So firstly, let's talk about Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo is just so strong, it beats everything. It beats Umbreon and Zweilous. I do think they are one of the most strongest cores in the whole cup, apart from Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo is just a class itself, but like a lot of people are saying that Umbreon and Zweilous, some are saying that Umbreon and Zweilous not that good, and some are saying that they are OP. So what does Umbreon do actually? The answer is it beats everything and nothing at the same time. I know, like it's very confusing, but Umbreon on paper it's decent, okay, but both Umbreon and Zweilous with a bit of energy swap a lot of matchups. They switch a lot of matchups. Like for example, suppose Sudowoodo beats Umbreon and Zweilous clean. I am not going to show the matchup, but let's just run the sims. So Sudowoodo is beating Umbreon clean straight rock slide, and if you can see here, it's tanking the last foul play. It has almost a rock slide charge, so you can go for a rock slide or even an earthquake for the next month. So it's looking really good, right? But if Umbreon is running Dark Pulse instead of foul play, it does a bit of energy, and Umbreon actually takes the 1 shield. Like it still loses the 0 shields, but it takes the 1 shield. So this is kinda awesome. Like either Dark Pulse or foul play. So Dark Pulse, it's I wouldn't recommend Dark Pulse in this meta, but if you really want that Sudowoodo matchup, if you really want that 1 shield Sudowoodo matchup, Dark Pulse is the way to go. And versus Zweilous with energy, it also flips the matchup because it baits with a body slam and lands the Dark Pulse. Now it has got some energy, it has got 18 energy from safe swapping, but can you go straight Dark Pulse? No, you cannot. So even if you have a few Dragon Breaths extra, you cannot go straight Dark Pulse. But if you have a lot of if you farmed another mon, or if you have a lot of pre-energy from the previous match, you can go straight Dark Pulse, but you do need quite a few energy to do that. But it can flip the 1 shield, but in the 2 shields and the 0 shields, again you are losing versus both Umbreon and Zweilous, because Sudowoodo's counters are doing a lot of damage. So this is the safe swap potential of this cup for Umbreon and Zweilous. Now the major win for Zweilous is the grass types, because it just walls the grass types. Umbreon beats the grass types, but like it loses against Venusaur. So Zweilous, just if you can see the rating here, it just walls Venusaur. I would suggest not using this body slam and just farming down Venusaur, tanking a sludge bomb, because if you tank a sludge bomb, you wouldn't have much HP left, so the next upcoming mon will not be able to farm you down, and you will definitely get shields if you farm down the Venusaur without using this body slam here. So yeah, Zweilous looking very good. But Umbreon versus Venusaur, it loses with the foul play set. Venusaur wins because of this final Frenzy Plant, because Frenzy Plants are doing so much damage, but it has just 2 HP left. Just 2 HP left. With Dark Pulse, it's a bit iffy because here you have a Dark Pulse charge and this Dark Pulse will KO, and Venusaur just KOs Umbreon with this fine bit. So let's try default stats. Default stats should lose, right? Yeah, it loses again. So if you Dark Pulse Umbreon is losing without the final Dark Pulse, but if you are leading 1 extra Snarl, Dark Pulse Umbreon should win this matchup. Let's see. 1 extra Snarl. Umbreon flips this matchup. The Dark Pulse Umbreon, because Venusaur gets to this Frenzy Plant and Umbreon gets to the Dark Pulse 1 turn earlier, and because of that 1 turn advantage, it KOs Venusaur with just Dark Pulse. And this is where like Dark Pulse Umbreon shines. And versus Jumpluff and Gloom, I will not show Gloom versus Jumpluff. Jumpluff is looking kind of good. Umbreon wins clean. Like this is Dark Pulse, even if it has foul play, it still beats it clean. And Zweilous as well. It beats Jumpluff and Gloom. It just destroys Gloom. And versus Jumpluff, Zweilous wins, but it does tank a lot of energy. But it has a body slam charge, so it's a clear win for the dark types against the grass types. Now if dark types are looking that good, then what do they suffer against? So they lose against bug types, and not just any bug types. The 2 clean bug types that beat the dark types clean are only Vespiquen and Pinsir. The rest of the bug types, they do beat it, but it's very iffy. I will talk about them later. But so Vespiquen against Zweilous, it's like a clear loss because it has another X-Scissor charged after like using X-Scissor. So yeah, Zweilous not looking good against Vespiquen, and Umbreon as well. And Umbreon as well, it's losing to Vespiquen because Vespiquen is just that bulky. And versus Pinsir, again it's kind of iffy and not iffy at the same time. Like Pinsir can just you don't even need that X-Scissor. You can just double close combat Umbreon and KO it. But it has a Dark Pulse charge, and this Dark Pulse will not KO unless you're debuffed. If somehow it gets the Dark Pulse between 1 debuff, it should KO Pinsir. So if Zweilous has a lot of pre-charge energy, like it needs 21 energy, and Dragon Rage is a half turn move, so it's not really that far off. But if Zweilous has a bit of energy, it can flip the matchup, but don't rely on this. It has to have at least 21 extra energy to flip the Pinsir matchup. But again, it can flip the matchup. Both both Umbreon and Zweilous have this in common. Now what Zweilous suffer against is the ice types. It loses versus every ice type, like Lapras, Castform, and Frostlass. I will not show the matchup. It just like ice types just destroy Zweilous, but it's not the case versus Umbreon. Like yeah, like ice types win. Suppose Lapras, the suggested moveset is Surf Skull Bash. So here Lapras is winning straight Surf versus the Dark Pulse set. Let's try the Foul Play set. The Foul Play set actually wins versus Lapras, but the Dark Pulse, you lag behind 1 fast move and like you cannot flip the matchup. So Foul Play for Umbreon, Dark Pulse for Sudowoodo, keep that in mind. And Umbreon just wrecks Castform and Frostlass. I will not get into the matchup, but Lapras, Umbreon can win. It's a very iffy matchup if Lapras lands a Skull Bash. It's very iffy, but I will not get into it. Like you should be able to win. Just stay clear of that Skull Bash. If you are seeing that your enemy is trying to go for a Skull Bash, try to shield or try to call out your opponent's bait and you're like set. Like but Zweilous doesn't have this. Zweilous just straight up loses against ice types. So that's why I gave a double-headed arrow versus the ice types and the dark types, because Umbreon is winning versus them while Zweilous is losing against most of them, and Umbreon is winning against most of them. So that's why. And now again, moving on to Sudowoodo, it's so good because I already showed you Sudowoodo versus dark types. Sudowoodo versus the ice types. Oh man. It's a clear win for Sudowoodo versus Lapras. It even tanks a Surf, and if you want to, Lapras can actually double shield and win versus Sudowoodo, because Lapras is just that bulky. Because Ice Shards are doing a lot, it's doing 6 damage and counters are doing 9, but Lapras is so bulky it can win the 2 shield matchup. So keep that in mind. It does lose the 0 and the 1 shields. So 2 shields, you can win, but don't rely on it. And what Frostlass has over Lapras is this Sudowoodo matchup, because Frostlass will always get CMP on the Avalanche because it has a really high attack stat, and it can just straight up win. But here you can go for Avalanche and then Shadow Ball. Can you go for straight Shadow Ball? Let's see. No, you cannot. If you go straight Shadow Ball, Sudowoodo will actually flip this matchup. So you need to get off a bait Avalanche and then land the Shadow Ball to KO. And for the 2 shield matchup, just straight go straight Avalanche and you should win. And Cast Form, Sudowoodo just wrecks it. Now Sudowoodo versus Vespiquen. Like, do I need to show this? Because it's bad. It's bad. Like, Sudowoodo just goes straight Rock Slide and wins. But Vespiquen here is winning the 2 shield because of the X-Scissor damage. It does outpace Sudowoodo when it comes to X-Scissors. But it's very close, and I will not rely on that 2 shield matchup, because if it sneaks in just 1 counter, Sudowoodo can again flip this matchup. And versus Pinsir, this is where Pinsir actually shines, because both Pinsir wins versus Sudowoodo in both the 0 and the 1 and the 2 shields, because Pinsir can go back-to-back close combats. You can go just back-to-back close combats. Pinsir will win here. It just went back-to-back close combats. It's like, it's close, but it's not really that. Again, it's not really that close. So this is what Pinsir has over Sudowoodo, although it's lacking in some parts, but Pinsir can flip this matchup. Now Vespiquen, again, it struggles versus ice types. Like most ice types destroy Vespiquen, but Pinsir can flip some matchups versus Lapras. Here Pinsir can go double close combat and KO, and if you can get the bait, it's more hard if you get the bait. Like, Lapras doesn't even have a Surf, so Pinsir is beating up Lapras. But let's see Frostlass. So Frostlass, because of its ghost typing, actually resists bug and fighting type moves. So Frostlass can go straight Avalanche and KO Pinsir. So Pinsir is beating Lapras and Cast Form if you can go double close combat. But Frostlass again looking very good. Frostlass just KOing Pinsir, both Pinsir and Vespiquen. But the other ice types can, like Pinsir can beat, and Vespiquen just straight up loses versus other ice types. Now Sudowoodo versus the grass type is just bad. Like, Sudowoodo just loses versus the grass types. But let's look at the grass types versus the ice types. Now Venusaur does lose to Frostlass, But if you can somehow sneak in, both Vine Whip and Powder Snows are clones of each other, they generate the same amount of energy. But if you can sneak in just one Vine Whip here and there, you can flip this matchup. You can flip this matchup and KO in the one shield, but again in the one and the two shield, because you are going to outpace Frostless. But you need one extra Vine Whip to do that. If you don't get that Vine Whip, Frostless will always get CMP on the Avalanche and KO you. And the other grass types, they struggle versus Frostless. Like Venusaur is the closest they get to Frostless, and Venusaur versus Lapras again is very iffy. Like, you might think that Lapras actually beats Venusaur or Venusaur beats Lapras, but it's not the case. So Venusaur here gets the Frenzy Plant, but if you somehow sneak in one Ice Shard, you can get this Surf ahead and KO Venusaur. Like, why isn't it throwing? So the Sims, I think the Sims try to do a double Surf. Let's try the sandbox mode. It's closer if it lands a Surf, but here Surf is charged if Venusaur again lands the Frenzy Plant, if it gets it before Lapras, and it needs a Vine Whip to do that. If it doesn't get a Vine Whip, Lapras can again flip this matchup, but Venusaur does need 1 or 2 extra Vine Whips to win. So this is like very iffy, very iffy. Both can flip this matchup. It's almost like the Frostless matchup, Venusaur versus Lapras. And Jumpluff versus the Ice types is just bad. They can just farm down Jumpluff because Jumpluff is taking twice as much damage from Ice types. But here comes Gloom. So Gloom versus Lapras. Gloom is doing a lot of damage with Razor Leaves, and it actually KOs Lapras in the 0 and the 1 shield, because you can just shield 1 Surf, or you can just farm down Lapras. So just shield once, farm down Lapras with just Razor Leaves, and you will have almost a Moonblast or a Sludge Bomb charged. And versus Frostless, again, it's very close. It's very, very close. Frostless wins with just 1 HP. So versus the Ice types, Gloom is looking a bit better than Venusaur. It's not as iffy as Venusaur because it does need 1 or 2 extra Vine Whips to flip. But apart from that, Gloom looking very good because of that fast move damage, guys. That fast move stacks up. So this was kind of an overview of the 5 groups. Like, I know, like, I didn't go in depth into a lot of Mons matchups, but I don't need to actually, because it's a lot straightforward in this cup. It's not like Fusion, or it's not like Sorcerers, where everything had various groups, various movesets. Like, this cup is not as varied, but it is. I am liking this meta. And a few other groups I excluded was the Beedrill, Scolipede for the bugs. For the Poison Darts, the Mark and Skuntank, they can flip a lot of matchups if they have energy advantage or not. And a few other rocks, namely Caracosta and Graveler. So they all have their own niches, and I do not want to get into their matchups individually, because that's what they are. They are niche picks. They are almost like specialists. And if I get like enough views or likes, like, I may do a separate video for the specialists, but like, probably most of the people are going to run every single mon from this 5 groups. Like, they're going to have 5 months from these 5 groups, and they can pick from the specialists, and or they can have double grasses or double darks like that, or double ices even. That's a legit strat, and I do not want to use a lot of time on this meta simplified guide because I want to talk about strategies. I want to give out videos about various strategies, like I am working on double dark and a double grass strategy, and I hope I can make them. I hope, because guys, like I have a lot of pressure from my classes. That's why, like, I want to make a lot of videos, alright, but I want to discuss more. I want to do even live streams even, but like I am extremely busy. Like yesterday I did classes for like 6 hours, and then I had boatloads of homework to do, and like I just didn't get as much time. So I will try to give out short videos about specific strategies and specific mons, and I am not going in depth because Niantic might release a lot of mons, because if you guys didn't know, versus this in the Sorcerer's Cup, I made the whole meta simplified guide, I recorded it, and then Niantic released all the Galar mons. So I had to scrap that whole project, and the next day Silph bans the Galar mons. So I know, like, I should have kept back of it, but I was running low on storage on my PC, so I couldn't keep a backup of it, and I had to redo the whole project again from scratch. So, and even after like this video goes out, even if Niantic releases some more mons, if it releases Kalos mons like Gen 6 mons, like this meta simplified guide is going to be invalid unless Silph pre-bans it, unless Silph bans like other meta mons or something. But it is the final Silph Cup, so I will try to make use of it, and stay tuned for more. This is Bhumon Ahmed signing out.